Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, where we provide you with your weekly diagnosis of everything fantasy football. Whether it's season-long leagues, dynasty, DFS, or sometimes even IDP, we got you covered all year long. Let's do it. Let's get to it. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, and I'm your host, John June. Of course, got my guy, Greg Penniman. Greg, what is good, man?
What is going on? Looking forward to this week 3. Just had a good week. 7 out of my 7 fantasy teams went 4-3. I like that week. Anytime it's positive win percentage, you'll take that. So yeah, finally got a win in the League of Extraordinary People. So yeah, we moving forward. We getting better down the line.
Yeah, man, I don't even want to do the record thing, and I've got like 30 different leagues.
Yeah, you can't even keep track of that. Yeah.
The ones that are the most important to me, though, definitely got to win in all of those, except for my one league with all my college friends. That's the one for the bragging rights. But the League of Extraordinary People,
you're in third place, yo. We're 2-0, third place, looking good, yo.
Yeah, man, it's looking good. I haven't traded away my entire roster.
Holding the fort.
I haven't made a trade yet. So
maybe it's a recipe for success,
Maybe, right? John, just draft your amazing team and just hold all those players. So let's get into some news, man, because obviously we're talking Thursday Night Football. We're going to talk streams of the week, but we want to definitely jump into some news here. Antonio Brown, wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he's tested positive for COVID. He is he's a vaccinated player, so he must return 2 negative tests 24 hours apart before being allowed to return. So it's definitely possible that he's out more than just a week if his case is serious, but with 4 days until kickoff, not likely that he is available this week. Greg, what are the ramifications across the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense?
For offense as a whole, I think they'll still be able to flow and do what they have to do. I mean, they'll probably get the toughest matchup probably defensively of the year facing the Rams, but I think they'll still be able to move the ball down the field. AB was just a piece in the puzzle that helped them, made it a plus, but I think it definitely bumps up Mike Evans and Chris Godwin to what it was. Before AB, they were both wide receiver 2 high end 2s with wide receiver 1 upside, both of them. So consider them having a bump. And other than that, I think that's really what impacts them the most. Offensively, though, they shouldn't miss a beat.
Yeah, I'm not as afraid of this matchup here with the Rams. I mean, they gave up 24 points to the Colts last week, and Carson Wentz and Michael Pittman had his day last week too, playing against this defense, and so I'm not nervous about it. But like you said, these guys get a bump here. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, with Antonio Brown not siphoning some of these targets. I think that that 20% target share has to go somewhere. It doesn't just disappear into thin air, right?
Right.
Those targets have to go somewhere. So those guys definitely get a bump.
Maybe a bigger bump for Gronk as well too.
Bigger bump for Gronk. Tyler Johnson probably gets he's probably the guy that will take the place of Antonio Brown in the starting lineup or in 3 receiver sets. Or it could be Scotty Miller. Honestly, who knows who it will be. But in terms of some other injuries here, Dalvin Cook, he was a DNP on Wednesday with an ankle injury. Head coach Mike Zimmer doesn't seem worried, but again, we've seen this happen. They could rule him out later this week, potentially even, if they feel that it's it's a long season, right? The Minnesota Vikings, there's still 15 games left with the 17th game added. And so you want to protect Dalvin Cook, who's probably your most important offensive player at this moment in time. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them sit him out. I think you should have some contingency plans in place. I like to think if I've got a star guy who's injured, I like to just assume that he's not going to play and just make all my contingency plans around that. And if he does play, that's just a plus for me.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Alexander Madison has been, his backup for a while now. Sometimes he'll come through, sometimes he wasn't. But definitely the Dalvin Cook manager should at least have him on the roster if he's seen this news.
Yeah, I was actually saying the other day to somebody, how funny is it the amount of draft capital that's been wasted on Alexander Madison over the last few years?
Yeah.
People drafting him high in fantasy leagues for those 1 or 2 games where he potentially starts, and then he either came through, I think, once or twice. I think he's only really come through like in game when Dalvin Cook goes down and he comes through in that game.
Right. But never like when it's all hyped up for him to start, get all these touches. Nah, he doesn't. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, the matchup is who do they even play this week? Of course it doesn't tell me here. I have it here somewhere, people. Just bear with me. Seattle. I knew it. It was right there. And Seattle's a good matchup for running back. So I would not be afraid to play Alexander Madison. Just don't have too high expectations.
Yeah, that low end RB2, top 30 play, nothing crazy. Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins did not practice with a rib injury. I don't know how much I'm really concerned here. Could just be rest. I would monitor this as the week progresses here. Greg, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is built through injuries a lot. He's played through a lot of injuries in his career. I've seen him practice Thursday, or Friday, and still play for game time. So just monitor it, but I'm not too worried about D-Hop.
Yeah. All right, Greg. Let's move on, man, to our streams of the week. It is Wednesday here as we record this, 7 p.m., 7:20 p.m., and obviously our streams of the week ahead of Thursday Night Football. Greg, who's your quarterback stream of the week this week?
You already know, man. It's got to be not Daniel Dimes, but Daniel Jones. So for the New York Giants, he's coming in, with his 122 rushing yards through 2 games. That's a really good 2 rushing touchdowns already through 2 games. That rushing floor is very strong right now. That's something we always knew that would be there, but now that he's also getting some offense through the air, the matchup is just too juicy against Atlanta. Tampa Bay just ran all over them. The Eagles were able to run all over them with also a kind of a running style quarterback. So this spot is set up nicely for the Giants offense as a whole, with Daniel Jones at quarterback.
Nah, man, I like that, man. That was definitely felt like it was going to be the move for me. But I figured I'll go with a former New York quarterback. And since the Dimes moniker is up available, maybe we can go Sammy Dimes. I'm going Sam Darnold here.
Wow.
Rostered in 20% of Yahoo leagues, going up against the Carolina Panthers, who play on Thursday Night Football. They have their highest implied team total of the year. The Panthers do. Darnold goes up against the Carolina defense, who've given up at least 17.5 fantasy points to quarterbacks thus far. Darnold has no less than 18.9 through 2 weeks. You could stream my man Sammy Dimes with confidence this week.
Definitely like the Sam Darnold pick right there. They are playing. Carolina's going to have to lock it in for that win, so he's going to be part of that. Getting DJ Moore involved. You love that DJ Moore wide receiver 1 season happening.
It's crazy, man. It was
crazy,
it's almost just like almost like a month ago we had a what could go right, what could go wrong show, and yours truly picked DJ Moore for what could go right. Getting targeted, peppered by Sam Darnold. I don't know. Maybe I just know Sam all too well. Who knows?
Yeah, facts.
Greg, your tight end stream of the week, man. What do you got?
For that, I mean, just going with the Giants player again, Evan Ingram, scheduled to also come back this week. So I think he's, could be a popular pickup. 35% roster going against the Atlanta defense, who's already given up multiple touchdowns to the tight end position through the first 2 weeks. It's a good matchup here. I think to set it up for Daniel Jones and this offense that is going to get a lot of yardages, and Evan Ingram's always been a favorable target for Daniel Jones. I think that doesn't stop here. He at least gets 5 or 6.
No, man, I absolutely love that. And I don't know how I did not mention this in the news portion because it totally ties into my stream of the week here at tight end. But Justin Fields, how did I not start off with this? This is like leading news.
Yes.
Justin Fields is starting for the Chicago Bears this week, going up against Cleveland. Andy Dalton will not start. He's injured with a knee. I'm sorry, man. Get better. But Justin Fields, man, it's time. And the time is now. Hopefully Matt Nagy doesn't pull who's that guy? Anthony Lynn. And despite what you see with your eyes, you just stay with our man here and Justin Fields. But Justin Fields being the starting quarterback, I think that only helps Cole Kmet here. The Cleveland Browns give up the 12th most PPR points to the tight end position. Justin Fields, again, entering as a starter. He targeted the tight end position relentlessly back at Ohio State. Loves to target the middle of the field. That's where Cole Kmet operates. I think that Cole Kmet will be involved here in Justin Fields' first start in week 3.
Yeah, you got to love it. Excited for Justin Fields. 2 weeks. I think that was pretty, kind of a nice prediction. We had week 4, but we love it half the time.
I said halftime of week 1, so I was
halftime. Okay. You're already there.
If we're doing Price is Right rules, I was done.
True. But yeah, I'm excited for him. I'm excited for the offense. Excited for Darnell Mooney, and Cole Kmet's a great pick too.
Greg, your defensive stream of the week.
I'm gonna go with a team that's getting a little favorable pass rush here. I'm going with the Las Vegas Raiders going against the Miami Dolphins. They're only 31% rostered, and Tua is injured. So they're gonna have to be backup quarterback with Miami. It's gonna have to opportunities for the Raiders to get some sacks, get some opportunities, get some interceptions, wreak havoc definitely against this team.
Only question I have for you, Greg, is would you have picked them if Tua was playing?
I still would have picked them, yes, because it still would have been a low scoring game. It still would have been opportunities to get interceptions. They wouldn't have got Raiders. Everyone got killed, and for a team that you're trying to stream, you're looking for that.
Yeah, I mean, the Raiders are 7th in havoc rate, so that's a really good number. They're creating a lot of havoc, forcing a lot of interceptions, sacks, fumbles, TFLs. That's good stuff there. Honestly, I wish Tua was playing because I don't want Tua to be hurt because I want to be proven right that he's not as good as everyone thinks he is. But I want him to play to prove that to me. Anyway, going with recycling.
Jacoby Brissett, by the way. Backup quarterback for Miami.
Yes, Jacoby Brissett is the backup quarterback for Miami and will be starting. If you saw him last week, it wasn't good against Buffalo. But Buffalo's defense is much better than it was last year, though. So definitely something to watch. But my defense stream of the week, I'm going back to the well from last week, which it didn't really come through because they got roasted by Minnesota. But I'm talking about Arizona here, rostered in 50% of Yahoo leagues. Get this Jacksonville defense or Jacksonville offense, who've been awful.
Yeah.
Absolutely awful.
They don't look like an NFL team right now. I don't even know what they are.
They look like a college team being coached by a college coach in Earth Fire. So, they're still 4th in the NFL and havoc rate at 35%. I'm all for starting the Arizona Cardinals again this week.
Yeah, it's always great to go back to well. If they didn't come through the first time when you wanted to do them, I think every time you hit back on the well, it always comes through. So that second try is like gold in fantasy.
Only question though, Greg, is would you go Arizona or Carolina? Because Carolina goes up against Houston.
Yeah, I would probably go. Actually, I'm not sure. I mean, I think I still will go with Arizona because I feel like Thursday Night Football is weird. Davis Mills might just come in and just light it up. I don't know. You just never know. But yeah, he did all right in his in reserve actually last week.
Yeah, he was okay.
Yeah, he was okay.
what you
Yeah.
would expect from a 3rd-round pick that was coming into the game with
Right.
under the circumstances with the starter getting hurt. But
Right.
you know what? You talked about Thursday Night Football. We've talked about Thursday Night Football. Let's just get into the game, man.
Yes, sir.
Thursday Night Football, 8:20 p.m. You've got the 2-0. Sam Darnold's never been 2-0 in his life.
About to be 3-0. Crazy.
Crazy. Carolina Panthers. Well, I should say NFL life. I don't know how far back it goes. But 2-0 Carolina Panthers traveling to Houston to take on the 1-1 Houston Texans. 43.5 point total. Those Carolina Panthers are 7.5 point favorites. In terms of the weather, there's no concerns because Houston's a dome. Houston plays in a dome, so no worries there. Every NFL team, just do yourself a favor, get a dome. You'll be happy for it. Don't have to deal with weather. In terms of injuries, Carolina offensive guard Pat Elflein dealing with a hamstring injury. He's on IR. Defensive end Yeturgeros Matos, he's out with an ankle injury. For Houston, wide receiver Danny Amendola, he will miss this game with a thigh. Terrence Mitchell, cornerback for the Houston Texans, will miss this game with a concussion. The Texans also have some players questionable on the defensive side of the ball. Greg, where are you going with this matchup, man?
I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take Carolina to cover and Carolina to win. On Houston's side, we just kind of alluded to Davis Mills. I definitely see some wild things in Thursday Night Football, but definitely not going to take that leap of faith in playing him in any format. Unless you were, I guess, the Tyrod manager and you are in 2 quarterback leagues, you might have to sub him in. So desperation, that's your play. Brandon Cooks, though, again, is the only one I trust in this offense, the only one I trust to play on this team. He's got 21 targets through the first 2 weeks, been absolutely monster. And they'll probably be down, so he's going to have to continue to force the ball down the field. And Brandon Cooks is their best option. One of the running backs could score. That's kind of what's going on. I don't really trust anyone, but should be a pass-heavy game again with Houston, but be behind. On Carolina side, Sam Darnold, again, stream of the week territory right there. CMC, of course, a top 2 option, workhorse option. DJ Moore, wide receiver 1 season, is here, averaging 9.5 targets a game through the first 2 weeks. It's kind of Robbie Anderson's going back to probably what we expected last year as being that boom or bust wide receiver 3. So that's kind of where he is for me. I think if you need the desperation tight end, Dan Arnold might be an option as well.
Yeah, man, I'm going to take the under here. I'm going to take Carolina to cover, taking Carolina to win this game. It could get ugly, man. For the Carolina side, I'm going to take the usual suspects. Give me CMC as potentially the RB1 on the week. Give me DJ Moore as that. I think, we're back to DJ Moore.
Sir.
Being a safe, steady wide receiver 2 with that wide receiver 1 upside. Like, that's
we're
back. And it feels great. So, Sam Darnold, my stream of the week here. I think you can definitely play Robbie in a pinch because of the matchup. But like you said, the targets are not there. They're not what they were last year. It's almost back like you just took Robbie Anderson on the Jets and you put him in a Carolina jersey. Yep. But that also means that around week 5, 6,
that's when it starts warming up.
Yeah. Yep. But it's weird because there's Ricky Terrace Marshall is not involved either.
No, he's not.
It's really just DJ Moore and
CMC.
Christian McCaffrey. That's it. CMC seeing like 9 targets a game.
Hey, that's a nice wide receiver 1 and 2 combo right there, if you ask me.
The one thing I do notice about Carolina is that they get up big and then they just shut it down, right? Like Sam Darnold, each of the last 2 weeks has thrown for over 200 yards at halftime. But he's finished the game, week 1 finished with 279, week 2 finished with just over 300. Right. So he's on pace for like 400 yards by the time the game starts, but the opponents for Carolina haven't been playing well. So we haven't even seen this offense like really have to really play 4 quarters of competitive football. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when that does happen. But on the Houston side, Oh, I'm with you on with Dan Arnold. By the way, I think you could play him. You could definitely play him in a pinch. Um, on the Houston side, I'm not playing anyone who's not named Brandon Cooks, who
Yep.
might see 1 million targets in this game.
Yep. 1 million targets. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Greg, you got a bold prediction for the people.
It was that Dan Arnold scores a touchdown. Yeah, that's definitely what it was.
Oh, why are you speaking about it in past tense? Like, do you not want to pick it anymore? Or?
No. It definitely is Dan Arnold scored a touchdown. I was still, my mindset was like still on Brandon Cooks, how like, the sleeper, we could pick him as, a sleeper of a wide receiver, and he's just killing.
Oh no, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
CMC scores 3.
3. Yeah, I like that. After seeing what Aaron Jones did last night, on Monday night, yeah, that would see it would be one of those games, primetime. CMC just shows out like it.
Yeah, man, totally. So Greg, we didn't plan for this. I mean, this game was so easy to get into. So, let's just jump into a buy low, sell high segment. We'll just talk some guys and maybe what you might be doing with them on the season. And let's start with we'll categorize them as a buy, a sell, or a hold. So,
okay.
Let's start with Josh Allen, quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. He is not finished in the top 12 yet through 2 weeks. Matchups against Pittsburgh and Miami. If you drafted him, you were definitely drafting him as a top 3, top 4 quarterback option. Managers are probably angry.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you advising managers to do in this case if they have Josh Allen?
I think if I'm a manager of Josh Allen, I'm in hold mode. If I'm not the Josh Allen manager, I think I'll be buying. I'm still a believer in Josh Allen. I think he is going to have success very soon and continuing down the season. This offense is gonna click. They're gonna have easier matchups. And yeah, they play Washington this week. The Giants lit them up, so that just shows you right there that they're exposable. If you could just, with a quarterback that's mobile, and that's Josh Allen, that will kind of help that offense move and hopefully get some touchdowns.
Yeah, he's the quarterback 19 right now through 2 weeks. Definitely not what you wanted when you drafted him.
No, definitely not.
But I think that the rushing, again, I say this all the time, but context matters, right? And if I told you before the season that Josh Allen was going to have a bad game against Pittsburgh, you probably would have said, okay, I could see that coming. But, again, it's not even like, Derek Carr lit up Pittsburgh last week, but Pittsburgh was banged up last week. TJ Watt got hurt during the game. Devin Bush missed the game. He was out. So,
yeah, once those linebackers get hurt, that's when
that Pittsburgh defense falls apart, right? So, he was able to, he saw the healthy Pittsburgh defense in week 1. And then week 2, Miami was just so bad after Tua went out that there was no reason to keep the foot on the gas pedal there for Buffalo and Josh Allen. So I think it will get better here. I definitely am definitely a believer in that. Let's talk about the running back position. And there's a guy on here, Jonathan Taylor. Through 2 weeks, he's the RB24. Had a nice week 1, but was not as good in week 2. In week 1, he had, I'm pulling it up. In week 1, he had 17.6 PPR points. In week 2, he had 6.3. What's going on with Jonathan Taylor in your mind? Is he a buy, a sell, or a hold?
Yeah, it's tough. The coaches just haven't been as good as we thought they would be. Definitely disappointing. Jacob Eason's back there now, so I think it might be favorable to run the ball a little more, to give it to Jonathan Taylor more. So I do think he is also. I think he's more of a hold. Honestly, I think I wouldn't be looking to buy JT, but if I had him, if I was a manager, I'd be holding him, see what he happens. I think he can be relied on more with Jacob Eason getting more carries.
Yeah, he's only averaging 3.3 yards per carry right now through 2 weeks. I'm actually buying Jonathan Taylor, just because if you look at the usage is still there. I mean, he saw 22 opportunities in week 1.
16 week 2, yeah.
16 in week 2. So, I mean, I like the usage there for Jonathan Taylor. I think that'll continue. And this guy is just he's so big, he's so fast, he's so strong. It's almost like the Derrick Henry effect. He's like Derrick Henry light, and you can get him in a matchup here ahead of, playing Tennessee potentially, where you could, use this window to buy low on Jonathan Taylor. Let's talk.
I guess it's more
No,
of the Colts being not as good, so they're going to have scoring opportunities a lot.
Yeah, I mean that's true. It depends, right? Carson Wentz, if he can't stay healthy and he's not involved in this offense, or he's not, playing in this offense, how does that reverberate across the Colts? And if that offense isn't scoring points, then that could be tough. I definitely am a believer in Frank Reich. He's shown to be able to manage backup quarterbacks before, even when they had Jacoby Brissett. Marlon Mack was still usable and whatnot. And I think that Jacob Eason has shown, in the spots that he's been in, he's shown that he's at least somewhat competent. And I think that that definitely stands, that definitely adds some value. But let's talk Ezekiel Elliott. He's the running back 26 through 2 weeks. Obviously, Tony Pollard, he has been involved. People are concerned about his usage versus Ezekiel Elliott's. Tony Pollard has actually outscored Ezekiel Elliott on the season. Tony Pollard is the running back 12, while Ezekiel Elliott is the running back 26. What are you doing with Zeke?
I'm with buying Zeke. I don't see him not at the end of the year not having 1,000 yards. I think he still gets his numbers when it's all said and done. So I'm with buying Zeke. I think this offense is just too good, and there'll be in a lot of opportunities where both these guys can eat, and I think Zeke would still be the premier back in this offense.
No, I'm with that too. I think Zeke is going to continue to eat. I think, this offense, they run enough plays where both running backs can be utilized. They can coexist, and I think that we'll see Tony Pollard involved as a receiver. I think Zeke is still involved as a receiver too, and those touchdowns are always going to be there for Zeke as well, as long as Dak Prescott is healthy and this offense stays good. The probability of him scoring a touchdown will always be there. So I'm definitely with that. Last running back here that I'll bring up, Devin Singletary. He's the running back 17 right now. Has a 68% running back opportunity share through 2 weeks. Zach Moss was healthy for the first time last week, or not healthy, but he was active for the first time through 2 weeks last week. But he still saw the bulk of the work Devin Singletary did. What are you doing with Devin Singletary?
I've always been, I guess, in sell mode. I think I'm in sell mode here. I think I can get something good for Devin Singletary, maybe like a wide receiver 2, or if I'm in need of a quarterback, I think I can get a good quarterback here if there's someone that needs our running back help, because it's hard to predict. We have consistent value from Devin Singletary down the stretch, and who knows what Zach Moss's utility is going to be. He went from not playing to being active to being used the carries and the target volume fluctuated last year. So, and still Josh Allen's still the best running back on the team.
Yeah, so I think I'm kind of with you. I think I'm going to sell Devin Singletary here. And that's not to say I don't want Devin Singletary on my team. It's just like you said, there's a lot of risk that comes with Devin Singletary. Like we went from, like you said, Zach Moss not being active to having a role and scoring a touchdown in just a matter of a week. So that just shows the amount of volatility that could be in this backfield. He scored on a 42-yard touchdown run. I could, like you said, you could take Devin Singletary. I think you package Devin Singletary and you try to go upgrade like your flex spot or your RB2 spot, right? So, maybe you take Devin Singletary, you package him with, I don't know, a wide receiver who is playing really well right now. But would you trade Devin Singletary and Sterling Shepard for Ezekiel Elliott or Najee Harris or
Yeah,
Jonathan
absolutely.
Taylor?
Yeah, all
Yeah,
three. Yeah, all those guys.
I
Yeah.
would do that as well. Would you trade it for Joe Mixon?
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's where I'm at too. So I like that prospect of potentially being able to move on from Devin Singletary and selling high because again, this is as good as it's gonna get. I think this is his ceiling here. He's not gonna be this 90% opportunity share guy. I think 70% is the ceiling, and if you could, get max value here, I think that'd be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to the wide receiver position. And the first guy I want to talk about is
Got to.
Marquise Hollywood Brown. I don't know who you thought I was talking about.
I didn't even say Brandon Ayuk, but
Oh, yeah, we're definitely gonna talk about him. But Marquise Hollywood Brown, right? Last 8 games, he's got over 1,000 yards, 74 catches, 16 touchdowns pace of that's the 16 sorry. That is the 16 game pace of his last 8 games. Has played well. What are you doing with Hollywood?
oh, give me all of it. I'm buying. I'm holding if I have him. Yeah, I'm on the train. The pace. You just talked about it. What he did in the last season into this season. I love the target number. 10 targets last week in this Ravens offense. That's it seemed like they want to throw the ball more. They got Detroit this week. Like that's a money matchup. You just saw what Devontae did to them. You just saw what their running attack will do. The Ravens offense is going to have a lot of scoring opportunities. Yeah, and even when Bateman comes back, I think Hollywood will still be number one to start. And Bateman's kind of established at this point. I don't think his role would affect him. It only help him if anything.
Yeah, it's I mean, he's 5th in wide receiver target share right now. He's only one of 5 wide receivers with more than a 30% target share, sitting at 31 through 2 weeks. I think I'm gonna be in sell mode. I'm gonna take advantage of this last week here
I
against
got you. I
Detroit.
got you. Yeah, true,
But
true, true.
I think I'm gonna sell here with Hollywood just because we've seen Mark Andrews hasn't been very involved in the offense, and I think that changes at some point. And we also see, like you said, Bateman's coming back, and so when Bateman does return, I mean, maybe Bateman more takes Sammy Watkins' role, and so there's still opportunities
True.
here for Hollywood to really exist. But at the end of the day, I think Mark Andrews will be more involved than we might be, thinking down the stretch here. So let's move on to the second guy, Brandon Ayuk. And you know what? I'm gonna start off with Brandon. Actually, I'll let you start off because everybody's
Nah,
probably expecting what I'm gonna say. But I want to hear what you have to say, Greg, about Brandon Ayuk, man.
this is tough, man. 0 targets in game 1, 2 targets in game 2. Oh man, like it's rough, yo. It's real rough. You definitely started him in week 1. You probably didn't start him in week 2, so but still you drafted him as to be a potential wide receiver 1 for the team. So that slot has been pretty empty and weak on those teams you have him. I feel like I would just only option is to hold because what are you selling him for? Like no one's trying to buy Brandon Ayuk except John Jr. So like, that's I feel like unless John Drew's in your league, you can sell, but other than that, you holding.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, the person who is rostering Brandon Ayuk should not try to sell Brandon Ayuk because you're not going to get anything.
Right,
There's
right.
you can get.
We never sell low. Nah, we don't sell low here.
But you can't drop Brandon Ayuk because if you drop Brandon Ayuk, there's people like me and Greg who will be like,
Yeah.
let me just, I got an
Yeah.
extra bench spot. Let me just
Word.
pick up Ayuk, right? So you got to hold Ayuk. But I will say, if you can, here's my thing. Context matters. I say it all the time. Context matters. But he was out for 10 days with a hamstring injury prior to week 1. Under any circumstance, I would expect a player that's missing 10 days with a hamstring to have, a slow ramp up period. So week 1, when they said he was a full participant, I was like, all right, well, I'll put him in my lineup, everything, right? Only plays a limited number of snaps. The following week, he ends up starting. He ends up playing more snaps than the week before,
Yep.
and he saw 2 targets, which he didn't see any of that the prior week. So that tells me this is a player that's getting worked into the offense some more. And so I wouldn't be surprised if against Green Bay here that we see a more involved Brandon Ayuk. There's one thing to note, though. Deebo Samuel has basically established himself as the number 1 wide receiver. So you're not even getting the Brandon Ayuk that we envisioned we were getting when we spent the draft capital to go get him. So I would keep that in mind. Like Greg said, you did not start him week 2. Week 1, obviously we know what happened. But at the end of the day, you hold him. I'm sure you've addressed your wide receiver position since then. And at worst, he'll become a wide receiver 3 flex option for you down the line. I think he does get to the wide receiver 2 territory, though, that we envisioned. Just give it some time. I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but he's definitely he's definitely a hold for me, man.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I like the trend point. If you see another positive trend here, that's all we can ask for at this point. And that just bodes well for down the stretch and hope maybe playoff time when you need wins. That's always nice.
Yeah, definitely.
And like Hollywood of last year, basically.
Seriously, but that's the thing is, right? Like if after week 1 we saw the same involvement or maybe less involvement in the offense, I would be concerned. But the fact that he's getting more playing time, that just, that combined with the things that people were saying about the professionalism and how he needs to learn to be a pro, I think that's just tied to the hamstring. I think that's got to be tied to him maybe not taking care of his body or doing the necessary treatment. And Kyle Shanahan is he's in the doghouse for that reason, because this is a good player. This is a guy Kyle Shanahan coveted he wanted to take him with a 13th pick in the draft 2 years ago. Ended up taking him at 30. So, they really like this player. So I don't think that he's going to be someone, this isn't Dante Pettis style here. I don't think that's in line here for Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's talk about another wide receiver, man. Somebody who is killing it right now. The wide receiver 2.
Woo.
Tyler Lockett.
Oh, man. Oh,
he's got a 30% target share through 2 weeks, tied with his teammate DK Metcalf, who is not the wide receiver 2. DK Metcalf is more like the wide receiver 33. Or is Tyler Lockett a buy, a sell, or a hold for you?
I mean, last 2 straight years, over 1,000 yards. He's probably going to get that again this year. I'm with having some like juice on your team if you really need it. So I'm with buying him. Because the only negative is we know there's going to be that part where he's going to have 2 or 3 consecutive weeks of just like not even being existent in fantasy. That usually happens every year. But I do like the overall numbers for him, and I think that's a wide receiver 2, and I want that on my team, so I'm buying him.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to buy because you're going to have to pay like an all-time premium, but maybe like you can get the built-in discount of like, hey, man, well, he's going to fade at some point.
Yeah, at some point he's going to fade out, yeah.
But I think he's totally a hold. I can't – if I have Tyler Lockett and I had Tyler Lockett last year and I experienced this, it's very hard to sell Tyler Lockett because he has week winning weeks. Like, you
need that.
These are week winning weeks here from Tyler Lockett, but at any moment it could flip to DK Metcalf, right? They're both seeing 30% of the team targets. It's just coming down. The difference is coming down to touchdowns, right? Tyler Lockett has caught 12 of 16 targets. DK Metcalf has caught 10 of 16 targets. So I mean, Tyler Lockett has the higher catch percentage, but he's also got the more touchdowns here as well. So at any moment, it could flip here in DK Metcalf's favor. So maybe off of this, I might be buying DK Metcalf.
Yeah, actually, I think I'm a flipped that. I'm on a sell mode. Looking back at his 2020 year, like he just died towards the end of the year. Like I don't know if I want that come playoff time. So I think if I could get a really good offer for like a wide receiver 1, CD Lamb type or something like that, I would go for it.
Right? Like if you could get CD Lamb and maybe package a running back with it. Would you do Tyler Lockett for CD Lamb and like Elijah Mitchell?
Yes.
Or would you aim higher at running back?
I even go get like trade Tyler Lockett for our RB1 and like Rondale Moore or something like that.
Like Zeke and Rondale Moore or JT and Rondale Moore.
Yeah. I think I would do that.
I think I would do that too, because at the end of the year, right, you probably, Rondale Moore is not going to see 30% of the team targets, but Arizona throws the ball more than Seattle does.
Yeah.
Rondale Moore is already seeing 20% of the team targets in Arizona as a rookie and through 2 weeks. I think you might be onto something, Greg. I think that you could probably flip Tyler Lockett, go get yourself a running back and like Rondale Moore.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you probably will be happy for it. And you could probably even sneak something else out of it, right? Like if you have Devin Singletary and Tyler Lockett or one of these other running backs and like Mike Davis, Tyler Lockett.
Yeah.
Right. Like I can go get Rondale Moore, Jonathan Taylor, and maybe like,
James White.
Corey Davis.
Corey Davis.
James White.
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's move on to the tight end position. Rob Gronkowski, man. Is he a buy, a sell, or a hold?
Oh,
tight end 2 weeks. He has 4 touchdowns.
Yep.
13 targets. He's got 4 touchdowns on 13 targets. It's like basically 25% of his catches are touchdowns right now.
Crazy.
Buy, sell, hold.
I mean, his price is probably very high right now, so I don't know if I'm not trying to buy a tight end, not named like Darren Waller or like Travis Kelce. So I don't think I would be buying any tight end unless I desperately needed one. But I'm definitely holding.
Yeah, I'm a hold Gronk. I will add though, I might buy TJ Hawkins.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot TJ Hawkins. I think I would buy TJ. I would pay that price.
I would pay what it takes to get Hawk on my team.
That man is a solid rock horse. Like he is steady. He's getting he's gonna get a lot of touchdowns this year. He's gonna get a lot of touchdowns this year.
I mean, he's second to Darren Waller at the position in targets per game.
Yep.
Travis Kelce is third actually of these guys with 15. TJ Hawkinson has 19. He's caught 16 of them, has 2 touchdowns. I mean, Hawk is looking like the man here in Detroit.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about another guy, Kyle Pitts. Is he a buy, a sell, or a hold there? He's, the rookie tight end is currently the tight end 8. People are, he was drafted as high as I've seen as the number 3 tight end. I've seen as low as the number 5. I mean, I've seen him later than that, but still, he was in that 3 to 5 range. What are you doing with Hawk there, or not Hawk, Pitts?
I'm holding. I think his price is probably a little lower now right now. So if you want to upgrade at tight end, I think he'd be a nice one to upgrade to. Yeah, I think so. I think he's going to develop more into this offense. The Atlanta's going to be in some scoring opportunities because they'll be playing from behind because Atlanta's defense is not good at all. I like upgrading to him because it's not as expensive right now.
So he's a buy for you then?
Yeah.
I agree. Kyle Pitts is 100% a buy for me. He's a rookie playing tight end. He's only going to get better. Russell Gage is out for the next few weeks with an ankle injury. There's more targets available to Kyle Pitts here. He's going to be involved. He was the 4th pick in the draft. I mean, the list goes on and on of reasons to want for Kyle Pitts to be productive this year. And he's currently the tight end 8. All right, he's averaging 9 PPR points a game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not terrible.
No,
Obviously, it's not what you may have wanted, but rookies do this, right? They get better, and they, especially those talented ones that are getting playing time early, they get better faster than the rest than their other rookies that are not seeing that playing time early. So Kyle Pitts is going to continue to get better week by week almost. So yeah, I'm all about buying Kyle Pitts. But let's talk about some of these high priced guys that are underperforming here. George Kittle and Mark Andrews, two guys. George Kittle was probably in that 3 to 5 range, as was Mark Andrews. What are you doing with either one of these guys, man? Are you let's just tackle both of them at the same time? Although that would be very hard to do since they're both large men, and I wouldn't want to tackle either one of them.
No, neither one of them, not single-handedly. Yep, no, definitely not. But as far as what I would do with them, if I'm the manager of Mark Andrews, I'm not as worried. I've seen Mark Andrews start slow, before. I think he'll rev up and be fine. George Kittle is a little more concerning because they're definitely they're both run heavy teams. But Kittle, I think you would try probably drafting him with way more expectation because he was taking him as a top 3 option. As far as Andrews, he's always underrated. So because his numbers are up and down. So yeah, I think I would hold both of them. I'm again not buying Kittle, not at that high price. I think he still is probably pretty viable. The manager would think because of his draft capital. I'd be more likely to buy Mark Andrews. But as far as if I was a manager, both of them I'm holding.
Yeah, I mean, they're both tough, right? I mean, Mark Andrews has 10 targets through 2 games. George Kittle has 9. That part is the discouraging part to me. I think if I had to choose one to buy rest of the season, or that I would want on my team rest of the season based on what I've seen through 2 weeks. Now, again, 2 weeks is a very small sample size. I think I want Mark Andrews because I think that this pass game has to get to a point where Mark Andrews has to be involved. Like this year can't go by a whole year where it's like, oh, Mark Andrews was not really that involved in the Ravens offense. Like, I don't think that's possible. Or I think George Kittle could not be involved in this offense just because, how often we've seen so many receivers involved in this offense. None of them named Brandon Ayuk, by the way, but Deebo Samuel, Trent Sherfield, Mohamed Sanu, Jawan Jennings, where George Kittle just hasn't been getting those touches that we're maybe used to seeing him get. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but I think, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I think I want Mark Andrews rest of season.
Yeah, and then you'll have to give up more, to get Kittle. So I'm with getting the better value there. The 49ers, they can pick people off the street with that offense. Like, they are just a well-oiled machine. They're able to, get it done with whoever, so they don't actually need Kittle to win games.
Yeah, that's the other part to it as well. All right, man. I think we've spent a lot of time doing these buy lows, sell highs, buy, hold, sells.
Yes, sir.
But we'll definitely come up with some more games as we go throughout the year. Obviously, as long as time permits. But with all that being said, Greg, everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you for vibing with us. Appreciate y'all for that. And just make sure you stay subscribed. Make sure you stay following the YouTube channel. Subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever it is you may be listening. And also make sure that you're following the show at FF Diagnostics on all social media platforms. Also make sure you're following Greg at we_made it on Instagram, at gmoney_truth on Twitter. Make sure you're following me at JR Football Nerd on all social media platforms. Have a good one, everybody, and we are out of here.
We out.